Welcome to Mobilise and Move. We're looking at hips and hamstrings today. Our subject is kindly bringing in a bench and then not using it. We will be using that shortly. So a quick shoulder stretch in the neck just to get things going. It's a good idea to start any movement practice with the neck and the shoulders, with the body following the line of the spine and the spine following where you're looking. If you are unable to move your head and your upper spine naturally without discomfort or irritation, if there's something getting in the way, then it does make it harder for you to naturally relax into a movement practice, a stretch, a relaxation, whichever it is. So a quick flex of the toes seems to be necessary just now, and lunging in. We're taking a longer lunge shape, so the knee is traveling no further than the toes, and just pushing in and relaxing back. The focus in the stretch will be on the glutes, hips, hamstrings, a bit less on the quads. And then we're lifting from one lunging shape into another, trying to draw the knee round in a semicircle away from the body to engage the muscles in the hips, lifting out to the side, the abductors and the hip flexors to support that lift at the start. Balance playing quite a large part of the movement at this stage as well. You will feel your core getting used. Dipping down into a child's pose, opening the shoulders, easing the lats off by moving side to side, trying to get your armpit right down to the floor. Into Cobra. Now lots of neck on display, shrug the shoulders right down, heels, toes, knees together. Tall, relax into that stretch, ease off, let's go into a 90-90, hands behind, both hands on the floor the whole time, trying to get both ankles and both knees to the ground. I did say both hands on the ground the whole time. Yes, he's doing it better now. So trying to get both knees and both feet down at the same time. And you'll feel the stretch on your upper hip in the pocket area. Drawing the feet in, holding as close to the ankle joint as you can and as far away from the toes as the size of your hands and size of your feet allows. It gives minimum leverage over the ankle joint in a twisting motion. So you're holding securely, pushing the elbows into the knees as you rock side to side. This will open up the adductors in the middle of your leg. And while you're there, have a rock back and a sit back up. This will encourage your core to engage with the stretches that we're about to do, as well as challenging your hips to stay in that broad position without the load of gravity pulling you down. Okay, moving on to your supported surface. If you don't have a handy weight bench at home, any dining room type chair, a solid chair will be useful. One with wheels, less recommended, unless you want a very exciting stretching experience as your support disappears behind you. Now we're just doing a static hold, pointing the toes, curling the toes back. That's down to the middle. Now address one foot, two thumbs together, down to one side, and steadily and securely lift back up. So down towards one side, steadily and securely lift back up. Make sure your seat is fully on the chair. We don't want your butt sliding off that. You should be secure at all times. Just stop as often as you need to reaffirm your seat, just like we've done there. Start with pointed toes, and then if you like, you can encourage more of a stretch in your calves by curling your toes back check on flexibility after a brief stretch. Not doing too bad. Heels of the ground just about on the floor. That looks like quite a lot of push to get there. And another little push once we've had a tiny relax. So yeah, heels of the hand on the ground. So we're quite well warmed up already. Right, straddle sit on the ground this time. More challenging. The higher up you're sitting, the easier it is to let gravity pull you down. When sitting, you just have your own core muscles, your hip flexors to pull you over. The stretch with the arms will encourage a bit of gravity load there to help pull you down. Keep the hands close together to keep stretching off the lats at the side. Reach in and breathe and enjoy the pull of the stretch. We're not trying to break a world record here, you're just relaxing into the stretch. Some hand contact on the foot can help you lean in, but we're trying to avoid anchoring onto the foot and really pulling on it. We want to be leaning forward. If your hands can touch your feet, that's a bonus. We're leaning towards that area. So think stomach to thigh rather than nose to knee. And then in a wide grip, we're leaning in to the straddle sit. Hands off the ground and lean forward. If the hands contact the ground, it's a cue to lean onto the hands instead of letting these muscles we're stretching take the strain. To encourage some tension in your arms, to hold them out rigidly, you can spread your fingers wide, and that applies a lot of tension. Okay, and then lighthousing round, steadily through every position, backing off at one side, putting the tension back on. Lighthouse round to the other side, back off and back on again. You can do this sitting up, sitting on a yoga block, a cushion, a sturdy pet animal. Probably don't do that one, or at least don't tell anyone you've done it. Lean in, and you can have the toes curled back or pointed for this one, depending how tight your calves are feeling today. If you've had a big run, maybe you're part of a marathon recently, you might find it easier just to relax the legs as you stretch in. Quick loosen off on the legs and let's go for a long push. There we go. And rotating the shoulders a little bit to find the stretch in the lats down the side of the ribs. Plenty deep breaths. Steady on the inhale, steady on the exhale. Relaxing in between efforts as well is helpful. Pushing right as far as we can with a moderate amount of effort. We shouldn't be straining into a stretch. And lean forward again, right to the middle. And at this point you should feel a little bit more space to move. The ground might magically appear a little bit closer as you relax in. The different structures that report back to your brain from inside your muscle will be saying this is a safe, relaxed stretch, and allow the brain to relax the muscle because the joint isn't in jeopardy, it's a safe and relaxed stretch. Time to ease off the hip flexors and front core with some cobra stretch, turning the shoulders side to side. This is going to help relax you after having had quite a lot of tension on those muscles as you've used them to lean yourself forward. We are relying on gravity, but the extra tension with the muscles will help as well. And then a pike sit to fully get the hamstrings stretched off as the adductors on the inner thigh have been stretched quite a bit in the straddle shape. The pike stretch will now stretch the hamstrings, and our demonstrator here is helpfully showing how to relieve a bit of tension by bringing the knees in and then repeating the stretch and finding a bit more space. Again, touching your toes is optional. Our subject here is demonstrating quite a not advanced hold, but quite a far hold, because his arms are roughly the same length as his legs, and that definitely helps. As you can see, you reach wrists to ankle joint, rather than fingertips to shins. So your anatomy, the way your body is, needs to be taken into account. The focus should be on what the stretch feels like, not what position you're trying to reach towards. Focus on the process and not on the outcome. What does the stretch feel like? How intense does it feel like to you? And to relax the core as we start to wind down our stretch. Keeping the knees together and the feet stacked, toe to heel, heel to toe. Twisting to one side, trying to get both shoulders on the ground and both knees to the floor. This will help relax your glutes, hips, and your lower back. Concluding our stretch, let's have a quick check and see what our forward fold is like. Can we get closer to the ground more comfortably? And yes, we can. Sinking right down, hands to the floor. Hope you've enjoyed. See you again.